In my last video, I went over a number of derivative rules. In this video, I will continue going over some more derivative rules, specifically on trigonometric functions. Let's take a look at their derivatives. The derivative of sine x is equal to cosine x. d by dx of cosine x is equal to negative sine x. The derivative of tangent x is equal to secant squared x. And d by dx of cotangent x is equal to negative cosecant squared x. Two more, we have the derivative of secant x, which is equal to secant x times tangent x. And lastly, d by dx of cosecant x is equal to negative cosecant x times cotangent x. Let's take a look at some examples. Let's find the derivative of f of x is equal to negative 5x cubed plus sine x. Again, we will recall a number of derivatives from my last video to help us out with these examples. So the derivative f prime of x is going to be equal to, our first term is going to need power rule, so it's going to be negative 5 times 3x raised to the 3 minus 1, plus, now using one of our new rules from Trig, our derivative of sine x is cosine x. Simplifying this, we get our final answer is going to be negative 15x squared plus cosine x. Let's take a look at another example. Let's find the derivative of f of x is equal to e to the x times cosine x. Here we have two items multiplying each other, so we will need that product rule from the last video. Again, the product rule says the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. So let's go ahead and do that. So f prime of x is equal to the first, which is e to the x, times the derivative of the second. Derivative of cosine, we saw by definition, is negative sine x, plus now the second, cosine x, times the derivative of the first, and the derivative of e to the x from my last video again is e to the x. Putting this maybe just slightly neater together, we have negative e to the x sine x plus e to the x cosine x. Let's take a look at one final example for this video. Let's find the derivative of f of x is equal to cosine x over 1 minus sine x. Here we have a fraction, so we are going to need that quotient rule for derivatives, which again said the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. So let's go ahead and find f prime of x and start computing. So we've got the bottom, which is 1 minus sine x, times the derivative of the top. The derivative of cosine x is negative sine x, minus the top, cosine x, times the derivative of the bottom. And so we have two terms down there, but I see the derivative of 1 is going to be 0. So I'm going to kind of just ignore that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the derivative of negative sine x. Now the derivative of sine x is cosine x, but that negative coefficient is going to stay. So we're going to have times negative cosine x, all divided by the bottom squared. All right, simplifying this, what do we get? I'm going to get minus sine x plus sine squared x plus cosine squared. bottom comes down. All right. Recalling from maybe a pre-calculus class, our Pythagorean identities, which say sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So left over in my numerator, I now have 1 minus sine x, all divided by 1 minus sine x all squared. And lastly, just using general exponent rules, we got 1 minus sine x on top and 1 minus sine x squared on bottom. So 1 for 1 will cancel out. And final answer, I'll get 1 over 1 minus sine x.